Hello and welcome to session 3 of the Motivation, Ambition and Resilience pathway of your PDE curriculum. In today's session we're going to consider how to turn negative situations into positive ones. Before we do this, I'd like to quickly recap on what we did in the last session in case you've forgotten or you weren't in school. Firstly, we listened to Martin Ashton's story about how he ended up in a wheelchair, paralysed from the waist down after a failed stunt on his mountain bike. We then envisaged ourselves in a similar scenario and decided what our first few thoughts might be in that situation. Finally, we discussed how those thoughts might link to things that we value in our lives. So, here's part 2 of Martin Ashton's story. Enjoy.
But I've got to admit something today that I've not really told many people. Underneath all the turmoil, I'm already starting to smile a little bit. Underneath the turmoil, there was a genuine excitement, which sounds weird, but bear with me. In all the turmoil, I'd been thinking through some scenarios, like what is it like in a wheelchair? Like, what's it like being 4 foot tall all the time and all that kind of stuff. But my competitive sportsman brain was starting to kick in, and I was starting to think like, so who's the best paraplegic in the world? Like, who's that guy or girl? Must be a pretty impressive person. And like, what's the world rankings of paraplegia? Like, how do you get in the top 100 of being a paraplegic? I can't help it, that's the way I think. And I was excited. And I instantly knew, although it was a dumb thought, it was also a very useful one. I could feel it had energy, it had movement, it was positive. And I nurtured it from that moment on. I kept hold of it. I knew that it was an important moment for me. And I really used that energy to move forward in my life. And let me explain why I was so excited by it, because I've been riding bikes for a long time, and often I would get excited by an idea. It was quite often an idea, as you can see, that probably wasn't a good one. Some people would try and talk you out of it. So that's stupid, Martin. You might hurt yourself, or you could potentially get arrested for riding on bridges illegally and things like that. And the excitement and that energy that I was recognizing in the MRI scanner, that's what I used to use to get past that inner voice that was saying I shouldn't, and the people actually physically saying to me, don't. And I would use this energy, that was a particularly silly bit, I would use that energy to get stuff done. So I knew it was important.
So, as we've just heard, despite all of the turmoil he was going through, Martin Ashton used his competitive nature to turn what was a negative situation into a positive one. Your reflection task for today is to firstly write down an example of where you have turned a negative situation or thought into a positive one. This could be absolutely anything, like failing a test but then working hard to improve and passing the next one you do with flying colours. Once you've done this, I'd like you to write down the factors that help you to overcome the challenge that you faced. For example, did I pass the next test I did because I worked harder? Did I get extra tuition or support from a teacher? Did I ask my friends or my family for help? Or did I simply alter my routines to focus more on what I wanted to achieve? I'd like your tutor to pause the video here and give you all the opportunity to discuss and write these things down. Now again, if time permits, your tutor can pause the video and let you share the negative situations that you've turned into positive ones. Please listen carefully to the contributions of others and note down any ideas for overcoming difficulties that you like the sound of. Hopefully this will give you a few new ideas to try when you next find yourself in a negative situation. Once again, thank you for listening, and I hope you look forward to session 4 next week.